Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the hottest spot in town. This is Sunshine's Corner, the most informative show on the Gulf Coast. And today, it's not going to be any different. At 9 o'clock, we're having a powerful, forward-thinking conversation with Mr. Jonathan Green. And as we look boldly at the future of Pensacola, led by our younger generation, we are all with all of these obligations and things that we are so dealing with daily, the daily distractions, personal growth can often feel out of reach. But what if the tools to create the life that you want were right there in front of you? But into what is it that you see? How do you engage with every single person every single day? Now, this is a conversation about a vision. It's about growth. It's about building a future with purpose. And Jonathan Green brings insight from his work with the American Humanity Meditation Service that he has, a project manager and a lead humanitarian, with the Southern Poverty Law Center, a senior project manager and lead humanitarian. Jonathan Green, even with Garrett Green Associates LLC, he has what it takes to be that leader that we need tomorrow. And we are so glad to have him today to talk about his story so that we can tell you things that are working, so that we can get behind our younger generation to uplift, to support, and make sure that everything is going the way that it should. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Sunshine.
And welcome in, love. Thank you for coming in. I love it when you come in because I've told you since day one. I said, this man here is going places, and I know this. Thank you for getting up to talk with me today.
Thank you for having me.
But of course, because I follow you, I see the things that you're doing. And when I say that about the younger generation taking the helm, I think that's what we got to do, is be right there with you, because you got to have that stage. You've got that stage, even though circumstances and things may pop up in front of us. But with you and what I see that you're doing daily, you've got that drive ever since I met you since day one. And I say with you, with that, I just applaud you. And when I mention your name with people, they already know, oh yes, strong young man, God, he's going places. And how does that make you feel when you know you already started that legacy at such a young age?
I really just look at the work I do as a tribute to what the ancestors and my family members, family, friends, and local community leaders, and even the legacy of what we've done just nationally, globally. Just carry on the legacy. I looked at it one day in high school, my friends and fraternity brothers talking about the change we wanted to see in the world and the things that weren't happening. We're talking 20 years ago I graduated in 2004 from Booker T. Washington, but going to the University of South Alabama and talking about the different things with the war in the Middle East and how we felt and the things we wanted to see in our domestic environment.
Exactly. Everyone's
like, when you start to organize, it's like, hey, let's do this. And a lot of people are like, let us know when you organize it. So then you're out there with the few people who are organizing. And then when you get it organized, you still hit a lot of the people up, and it's like, well, I'll catch you the next one. And so it gets disheartening a lot of times. So a lot of my focus in all of my work has been trauma-informed, mental health focused.
Right.
And that really stems from personal experiences and what I've gotten to do throughout my career.
I understand.
I was with the New Jersey Attorney General's office as their lead community mediator under the Division on Civil Rights.
Right.
I was there for a couple of years and launched a national pilot program titled the New Jersey Peacemaker, the New Jersey Community Peacemaker Collaborative.
Right.
I co-authored that grant and authored that program, which is a national pilot model. Pensacola is the perfect ecosystem and environment to effect that change. It was a statewide program. It had 2 tiers, a crisis response plan, which allowed my 4 unit locations to respond throughout the state of New Jersey within an hour. And it takes 3 hours to travel that whole state. But in Pensacola, we can set up similar systems where people in our community can have access to other community members who are leaders of those neighborhoods, community influencers, so to speak, an informal mayor.
I understand.
And have those individuals where they live and as an intermediary between law enforcement. And we worked with law enforcement. I was under the Attorney General's office, so I was a part of the Attorney General is the highest law enforcement officer in the state. So every law enforcement agency falls under them. So as the Division on Civil Rights, we go into every space, and mediation is voluntary. It's a neutral process. So having access to every Attorney General in New Jersey, every state prosecutor, county prosecutor in New Jersey, they're appointed by the Attorney General. Locally in Florida and many other jurisdictions, they're elected. So being able to tap into resources, community leaders from just the state attorney's offices, it lent a different view where you could actually access change. People became more accessible. So everyone had a seat at the table.
We just talked about that yesterday, having a seat, and I gotta say, but what was said yesterday, we could have a seat at the table, but now it's time for us to create our own table.
Well, and that's the thing, what I mean by having a seat at the table. It's not that I have to have a seat at your table.
Exactly.
My table can be here, yours can be here. We can be in a room full of tables. But I have my own table, and I can speak to you with the same respect and dignity you speak to me.
Exactly.
But a lot of times people, and it's funny with the First Amendment, people think free speech stops with theirs. So once you have a rebuttal, that's a protest. You're allowed, a person's allowed to rebut and have a different passion than you.
Absolutely.
So I'm often, like for me personally, I'm often demonized by some of the closest people around me because my voice is so powerful, but a lot of people are unable to accept that I accept your opinions and insights, but I respectfully disagree.
Exactly, and we can do that.
Yeah, so if it causes you to continue engaging in an interaction that a person's told you they don't want to engage, you can't deflect in your passive aggressive behavior to say that I'm the cause or the person who is now triggered when you know of their mental health triggers and the things that incite them, and you're trying to perpetuate those behaviors, and that person's trying to escape that.
I understand.
So oftentimes, and even like recently, I simply own my businesses now. I've project managed my businesses out enough because I've essentially had to retire. My disabilities are so overwhelming that just emails and answering phone calls on a daily can be burdensome to the point the only things I can do is take care of my children. The only things I can do is if I can get up and take care of myself, and understanding what mental health looks like between men, between women, between children, and understanding how these things can be exacerbated by the people around you who still want to never recognize change.
Exactly. When you talk about mental health journey and inspired by a true story, I'm going to take you somewhere. We're going to talk about this. When society labels a young man as troubled, here's where I'm going. At risk, lost. What is the psychological impact that's carrying that label every day? Because you know how people give you a label when they, if this happens, I'm going to label you as this. But with that, psychologically, how does that impact carrying that label with you every day?
So, when I was originally diagnosed in 2006 with various mental health diagnoses, PTSD, a relatively newer one is intermittent explosive disorder. And it's through certain triggers. Bipolar disorder, mania 1, and to be functional, have gone to law school and be able to control those aspects of my life through medication, through therapy. It was 12 years later before I was recommended to therapy. My first doctor shoulder shrugged when I told him I thought I had PTSD. And a lot of people don't recognize co-occurring mental illnesses. So co-occurring mental illnesses is the fact that more than one mental illness can exist in a person. So if I have PTSD, if I have bipolar mania, if I have insomnia, anxiety, And all of these things can be exacerbated and then compound on each other. You have co-occurring mental illnesses that occur with each other. They compound on each other.
Okay.
So people who don't, and even with that, people who suggest for family members to go to therapy, so not even if it's not for you, so you can understand how to help others around you cope.
Exactly.
If they have mental illness that you don't agree with. But a lot of people don't want to hold self-accountability.
That was my
to
next
reflect,
question.
To be able to go to an individual, because you can't go to group therapy off right. You have to go to individual to work on self before you can come collectively. It's inward work before outward work.
Right.
Put on your mask before helping your neighbor.
Exactly.
Type thing. So if you can't get the people around you to even want to understand your progress and growth, and they still see you at 20 years ago, and they think those things are still the things that are true today, but they never take the opportunity to actually speak and discuss what the different occurrences in your life have been, and the struggles of sleeping in your car for a year when you go through a divorce.
Right.
No family support, and the support they give is really manipulative, so they can have time with your kids but keep you in a state of disarray and instability, that the improper support causes you to just step back.
Okay.
So, and then you put life in a perspective where, and I take this from Huey P. Newton's book, Revolutionary Suicide. He explains in the book, and it's also on the back cover for the people who read back covers, but going through the content of the book, he explains that there are two types of suicide: reactionary and revolutionary. Reactionary is when societal pressures are so overwhelming that you are willing to take your own life. But if you have that courage to do that, because it takes courage to be in that mind space to actually achieve that purpose. A lot of people don't know it's illegal to commit suicide. You can be sentenced to prison or jail. It's just if a person's already psychologically in a space that they will take their life, jail's not the best place for them. So mental institutions are, and that's how people can be adjudicated mentally incompetent.
Okay.
Versus, like in Florida, the Baker Act. That's not the same thing as adjudication of mental incompetence and lacking capacity for me to go contract or for a person to engage in free public society.
Okay.
Right.
When did you realize that you don't have to accept that? I mean, with anybody. When did you realize I do not have to accept what they have described me to be? I do not have to accept that, even though I know what I'm dealing with.
So for me, it was really taking the labels and understanding. And so once I got in counseling, 12 years after my original diagnosis, one of my therapists said that just because I like to know things, and for me that's informed consent. The therapist said, just because you take a pill, you have to realize your 8-pound ball of mass of brain tissue has over 8,000 chemicals, that if you took chemistry and one chemical wasn't right and your teacher made you redo that to perfect that equation, that one imbalance could cause all the others to be imbalanced. So that made sense. That caused me to want to take my medication, because someone explained. But also, for instance, the label, I remember there was a time after that Dr. Shoulder Shrug, and I was having flashbacks, like in the morning, taking my medication, of just the scenes of my original PTSD and bipolar episode. So in the mornings, taking the pill, trying to do right, but I'll be stuck and zoned out in this little space. And I remember confiding that in a family member, and that family member saying, "You're not having flashbacks, you just don't want to take your medicine." It's not that. I didn't know I could go to my doctor and tell them that, and they would alter my medication.
Okay.
So if I'm having adverse effects, and that's where, like on the commercial, you say, if you're having suicidal thoughts, let your doctor know. And that's because they change your medication for something that won't cause that. It's a side effect. So I have a medication that causes me to gain weight. So being mindful of what I eat and it can cause my sugar to increase to the point that I could develop diabetes.
Okay.
The one they put me on originally, I remember when the commercials came out, because they had switched me before the commercials came out with, if you were on this medication and you're a male, you could get gynecomastia, which means you can develop breast tissue and develop man breasts.
Oh, really?
Yes. So they took that medication off the market. And so as soon as I got out I was institutionalized in 2006 for my mental health episode. That's where I was originally diagnosed under a Baker Act.
Right.
And being able to go to the doctor, him being aware of that, developing the trust and rapport, but also I'll never forget when he shoulder shrugged.
Oh, really?
When I told him I thought I had PTSD from the thing that caused the episode a year prior to the episode. So he was like, I don't really see where that would play a factor. But me knowing what I went through, I know it played a factor. So it's 12 years later before I start working with therapists and working through this, and the compounded traumas on top of the lack of support, on top of, and that's the thing with support. People get support the way they want to give it, not the way you need help. They don't ask, how can I support you? What will best support? What will support you in a way that? What's your plan for the next week? What's your plan for the next day? What's your plan for the next 3 months? What's your plan? How am I going to help you out of this?
I understand.
Because I know this isn't you.
Right.
But when everyone attacks you in a way, and then they don't understand your original trauma and how they mirror that in their opposition of not hearing your voice, and then not understanding co-occurring illnesses, so intermittent explosive disorder, do you even know what that is?
Okay, exactly.
Do you know why this explosion would occur, and why that would be different than the bipolar, why that would be different than the PTSD, why that would be, or what if it's, I had a doctor tell me, PTSD that develops into mania. It's mania-induced PTSD.
Really?
PTSD-induced mania.
Wow.
So it's so many, and then so the thing that explains all of the history of black people in this country is called complex PTSD. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder. The American Psychological Association, who gives the requirements for every college paper and how papers are written in the United States, they say that the APA says that complex PTSD is not insurable.
Really?
So people can have those labels, but you'll never see it in their paperwork because it's not insurable. They're just going to be labeled as PTSD, so the insurance covers it. But complex PTSD is a reason why
that they are.
The entire black community, if we had complex PTSD because of the generational DNA markers of the history of slavery, every black person would have that diagnosis and no one would have to work under Social Security. They cannot label that.
Oh, I see the thing. I mean, that is deep. I mean, when I say that, because my question was, we got to go take a break.
Racism.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, like, with the things that I find out that I'm listening to, my question was, when in our community, there are so many, I'm sure, that's dealing with some of these things and don't even know the fact that they are. We're going to talk more about that when we return with Jonathan Green. We are opening up today, and I want you to be a part of it because of the fact I say it all the time. Unless we talk about it, we can't move forward. Unless we're honest about it, we cannot move forward. Stay with us right here on Sunshine's Corner.
Join me, Quint Studer, for Conversations with Quint, as you learn all about kindergarten readiness and what we have to do to get better, with Katie Ballard and Stephanie Montgomery.
Good day, Pensacola. Welcome to a new segment on health and wellness sponsored by Baptist Healthcare in partnership with Sunshine's Corner. Every first Wednesday of the month, during Sunshine's telecast, we're going to be bringing you information about health and wellness and ways to make sure we're improving the quality of your health care here in Pensacola. After all, we want to ensure that you're going to the right place at the right time and for the right reason, and that you don't feel alone. Can't wait to see you.
At FPL, we plan for storm season all year long. We're strengthening poles to better withstand severe weather. We're clearing lines to improve resiliency, and we're constantly training teams to act at a moment's notice. Because we're always working, always preparing. So when storms do hit, you can count on us. FPL, working for you every single day.
Pensacola, Wagwan mean? What's up in Jamaica? My name is Nash, CEO of Good Vibes Jamaican Grill. Once you see me, you already know this is where the flavor, the vibes, everything is at. Right here at 7999 Pensacola Boulevard. If you want oxtail, curry goat, jerk chicken, and so much more, just come right here at Good Vibes. Just come on down and just come enjoy yourself. If you haven't been, you're missing out. And if you're coming, bring your friend, tag a friend, a friend.
Join me and Chad Henderson in conversation with Quint. Chad is the CEO of Catalyst, and he's going to talk about all the great work they're doing in Pensacola, including a new hotel and the plans for OLF 8. Join me with Chad Henderson.
And welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Sunshine's Corner. We are talking with Mr. Jonathan Green, and he's really talking to us about things that we should really be open to talk about all the time. I have always said that I do not understand why in our community they think that when you say mental health, there's something wrong, there's something bad, but there's something good that you can get help for.
Right on.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of or going to categorize you. What we're talking about now is how community will label you when you're doing the things that you do and they don't understand reason why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like you were talking with things that affect the community now that not possibly, I believe it in my heart, that some of the things that we deal with, it is a fragment of what has gone on from generation to generation to generation to generation. And the things that are being treated how it is today.
Right.
And I'll say this because I think that it behooves me that society has reverted back worse, I think, than the stories that I was told years ago. In a new day, doing it a new way. Being so open, if you understand. I'm talking
Right.
about racism now.
Right.
When it comes that way. Because I want to go to this, because I want to move and talk to you about how young people, or anybody, should know their rights when they're engaged with law enforcement.
Right.
Because some people don't know the things that they don't have to do, even with that.
Right.
And you know where I'm going to take back to a minute, because I think you have shown a level of strength. That knowledge you have is taking you places because you know your rights. And I think that with you and the things that I've watched you do, the things and the way I've watched you speak, I've listened to you, I think that knowledge, it really, I say this all the time, that knowledge is power. But if you don't have any of that knowledge, where does that leave you?
Right.
You can be susceptible to anything.
Right.
Because you don't know. We're talking about, I want to move from that, how we are labeled from one thing from the community, not knowing your rights, how all of this is going to connect.
Yeah, and see, I appreciate that segue because so for instance, I want to take you through an aspect of my original trauma that I think you touched on regarding the ancestral history of our people.
Mm-hmm.
So my original trauma came from my pledge process in my fraternity, which I'm not going to, state that
Understand?
name. But I finished my process. I was the rock of my lawn, and finishing a pledge process that when you finish, you understand things like W.E.B. Du Bois' talented 10th, that myself, my fraternity brothers, my colleagues on my college campus or when I went to law school or during my master's, we are charged with helping our community.
Always.
Who do not have the privilege of the education we are obtaining. So being that talented 10th pool, if we are segregating ourselves between who's pledged and who's not, when you're going to obtain a job, you're just happy you got the job regardless of a person's status in a fraternity or not.
Right.
So when you start understanding money and business and economics, finance, all their interchangeable words for that, building capacity, right? the same words. When you start understanding these things and how you can build community, but the people around you in the most educated spaces are more interested in harming each other in a Willie Lynch mentality. That a year after my pledge process, having a episode where I'm drawing is not the matter of grandiose, it's the matter of which is what they classify to be diagnosed bipolar. Grandiose, a person believing they're God or Jesus. I don't believe I was God. It was more so the fact that as a child of God, God's authority is more than man's authority.
Of course.
So when I was having this episode at the age of 19 and I'm in Mobile, going to University of South Alabama, I get on the interstate and I'm driving down the interstate. I get in the emergency lane because I saw a car that was the color of my fraternity colors, and I went to see if anyone was in distress. There was no one at the vehicle. I got in my car and I drove in the emergency lane, the opposite flow of traffic. So cars are driving the correct direction. I'm in the emergency lane.
Going the opposite.
Right. So about 2 minutes later, a law enforcement officer pulls in front of my car. And this is in my documentary, it's on YouTube. Now it won some awards a few years ago during the film festival circuit. And it's called A Beautiful Struggle, The Man in the Madness. But when the officer got out his car, I got out of my car, and this was in Baldwin County, where my great-grandmother, who moved here in 1918, her parents and her grandparents were from Baldwin County, and her great-grandparent, her parents were the first freeborn generation. Her parents and my family from Baldwin County were enslaved there. My grandfather's family, I found our history that goes back into 492 years into this country because I found the slave owning side. And they were some of the founding fathers, if you, in that fought in the American Revolution,
right.
and out of South Carolina. So 492 years of history that I can trace with U.S. government documents of my family. Asaph Goodson is my third great grandfather, was removed from South Carolina's state legislator as one of the first black representatives in the state legislature during Reconstruction, and trial judge. The governor removed him from office because he gave fair and impartial rulings against white people. He was sending them to jail for racism, for discriminating against people, and he had won election. The governor removed him, and my grandfather passed away in 21 not knowing who he was because he was run out of South Carolina.
Oh my God.
I found this history back 492 years into the Adams family.
Wow. We got a phone call. Somebody want to talk to you
Right
this morning.
on.
Uh-oh. You're getting this history stuff up that somebody's talking with us today. Good morning. Okay, let's see.
Yes, Sunshine, this is Mac calling in, and you gave some advice concerning law enforcement. Yes, you have a right to disobey law enforcement, but my take is you do what he tells you to do because you cannot win in the middle of the street. And I have always advised my son when he was here and my grandchildren, you do what that law enforcement man tell you to do. You might have a right, but you can't win in the street.
Right.
And if that young man up there in Fort Walton Beach had not came to that door, or if he had been white, he would not be dead today. Well, he came to the door with a gun in his hand. I am 87 years old, and I have never been mistreated by law enforcement. And if that young man hadn't came to that door with that gun in his hand, he would be, that was his right, that was his right to come to the door.
I understand what you're saying.
But he's dead now.
I understand what you're saying.
And Sunshine, I just enjoy watching your dressing. And I think Sue Strong is about the one of the best dressers I've seen. Okay, I'm going to get off the phone. You know who I am.
I know who you are now.
Well, yeah, you know, we called because we was at the senator.
Yes, when the senator came in back here, I remember.
Okay, thank you for this time.
Bye-bye.
No, and I appreciate that segue because when it comes, what I knew at 19 and with my mental health and my lack of knowledge in mental health, and even to now at the age of 39, 20 years later, I look at what the founding fathers said. Mm-hmm. The only rights you don't have are the rights you give up.
Exactly,
so
I like that.
If you don't want to be a free man, I feel confident in saying, because when I had to practice in the mirror saying, I am a free man. I am a free citizen of this United States. I am a free citizen of the world, and I get to live.
Right.
And no one can control my ability to be free.
Right.
So yes, an officer with their lights on, you pull over. They have detained you.
Right.
When you have the knowledge of your rights, you can use your free speech. So a lot of people know that self-defense occurs. You can't use you can't use lethal means against law enforcement.
Of course.
That's against the law.
Of course.
A lot of people don't know there's a federal law that says you can thwart unlawful arrest with non-lethal means if it's false imprisonment. But if you do that, the officer's going to tase you, potentially shoot you. And for instance, the young man, Roger Fortson in Fort Walton, who was killed by law enforcement, it's several constitutional rights that he had a right to be secure in. His First Amendment right, well, let's go just do the Bill of Rights 1 through 8. First Amendment, his free speech to say, who is it? Sheriff's office. Well, if it's the sheriff's at my door, I feel compelled to open the door.
Right.
But he didn't have to. Why? Because of the Fourth Amendment. The right to be secure in your persons, papers, and property. You have to have a warrant to search my home. Now, he was there under a DV call, but he was at the wrong apartment.
Exactly.
He should have the capacity of a high school education, right? That's the standard, to read the numbers on his report. 3 or 4 digits, or maybe 5, depending on the apartment complex, but to have the intellectual capacity to decipher the numbers of the apartment you're going to in an apartment complex made of numbers.
Exactly.
You should be more accurate, in my opinion.
I agree.
So, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment. Second Amendment, his right to bear arms. Not only does he bear arms, he defends our country. He is a U.S. airman in this United States military, stationed where our United States federal government told him to be. That if you look at the Constitution, federal preemption, we ain't even talking about the Bill of Rights, we're talking about federal preemption over states' rights, which is the 10th Amendment. This is addressed in the Constitution. The federal government sent his orders there. Him being law-abiding, the officer had no jurisdiction over this federal contract person.
Right.
The federal government owns him. They killed federal property. When you sign your name to the contract as a recruit to join the military, you become property of the United States government. Get in a motorcycle accident, break your leg, and see if they don't sue you for damaging property on yourself. So he had a right to go to his door as a trained military personnel, with not knowing who's at his door when he has no family here and he's on the phone with his girlfriend.
Exactly.
He has a right to do that.
I agree.
So if, for instance,
hold that thought.
Yep.
We got to take a break, but I want to come back because I want to really go deep in that, because some of us, we do not know our rights. When you went through the amendments and all that, sure, we're going to be careful. We're not going to say that we're going to go do something that's going to cause somebody to really say, let me hurt you. No, but the fact of it is, I don't think that's the way it's happened. Right. Sunshine's here with you. We're going to talk more with Mr. Jonathan Green right here on Sunshine's Corner.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
Sonia Bay's Botanicals is a local wellness boutique that specializes in infused fruit juices, medicinal herbal tea remedies, clean hair and body care, and herbal infused sea moss gels, which can be purchased 1 for $25 or 2 for $40. This sea moss contains 92 of the body's 102 essential minerals used to increase energy, relieve pain and inflammation, and improve blood pressure and more. From parasite cleanse to detox and weight loss to blood sugar control, Sonia Bay's Botanicals has a natural solution for you.
I'm Emily Echeverria, Marketing Communications Director for Council on Aging of West Florida and the host of Coming of Age. Watch our show to find out what we're doing for our seniors and their families, and hear from area experts and local business owners about their programs and services. Want to help? Find out how you can work with us to bring a better future to our seniors. Watch Coming of Age, 3:30 p.m. Wednesdays, only on Blab TV.
The Emerald Coast Utilities Authority's state-of-the-art materials recycling facility processes recyclables for communities throughout the region, lowering need for more landfills. This highly efficient recycling service accepts glass, paper, cardboard, plastics, aluminum, and more. But we need your help. Please make sure your recyclables are clean of garbage, food, and liquids. Also, please remember that plastic shopping bags, foam products, or yard waste are not recyclable. To learn more, go to livegreenecua.com.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner on this Tuesday edition, talking with Jonathan Green. And yeah, you do compliment each other.
Oh, yeah.
That's your right hand?
Indeed. She is.
I'm talking about his wife, okay, but they compliment each other. But we were talking about the rights. And it was something you were saying before we came back out of break that you wanted to acknowledge.
So, for instance, Mr. Mack, who called in, you do have a right to your free speech, but as someone who empowers women to empower Sonshine, doesn't mean you have to objectify her on her show when you call in.
Right.
It doesn't mean you have to use your free speech to make mention of the thing that you notice when you're sitting at your home, because other people may notice more of the in-depth conversation of the speech we're having for
Exactly.
Right. So you can't pick and choose which rights you want to use and for me not to.
Right.
So for instance, I was speaking about knowing your rights. I'm not saying use violence against law enforcement.
No, you're not.
What I'm saying is whether it's non-lethal or not, if you use the federal law, a lot of people, for instance, Florida, Alabama has a law that you can use no violence at all. So it's only words. So if I use my free speech to thwart a arrest that I believe is unlawful, and that is my standing my ground with free speech, I don't use violence, why can I not use self-defense verbally? Verbal self-defense.
Okay.
So if I use my free speech, now it doesn't mean fight the arrest.
Of course.
It means you ask 2 questions, and I have it on a wristband here. Normally wear it.
It's off that
but if you ask the officer, am I being detained or am I free to go? The officer says you're being detained. Or if they say you're being arrested, either one. What articulable facts justify this detention? Or what justifiable facts justify this arrest? They don't have to tell you.
Right.
What you do is take those silver bracelets, you comply with the arrest, and that officer has to be able to articulate the reason for the arrest in the report. You fight it through the due process, the 14th Amendment of the court system.
Right.
The 14th Amendment, well, it's the 5th Amendment, your Bill of Rights. We're going through the Bill of Rights. Your 5th Amendment only applies to the federal government, not the state governments. But the 14th Amendment causes the Bill of Rights to apply to the state governments. But the 14th Amendment comes after the 13th. Why? Because slavery is abolished except as punishment for crime. We're not talking about the exception. We're talking about slavery had to be abolished before you can say citizens are naturalized for equal protection. Because if you did it in reverse, that was already the law. Citizens here were, but so it would be persons who were newly born out of servitude that would have been free, not their parents.
Right.
So you had to do 13 to free everyone.
Exactly.
And you were freed as a person, not a human being. In the law, if you look at feticide, an unborn fetus is a person breathing. If your lungs float and they determine the fetus whether they breathe, if the lungs sink, they have amniotic fluid in it, and they won't rise. If they float, the child breathes, it's a human. So that's how you determine feticide, is this killing of the mother and the fetus, an unborn person. So we were 3/5 a person in the Constitution. That was never amended. We were naturalized as persons. We were never changed to be a full human. And so why do we expect law enforcement to recognize human rights when we're not even recognized the status of a full fetus? Is my question.
That's deep. You got another phone call. That's deep. That's deep. Good morning. Okay, I think I need to do this.
You're welcome.
Hi, Anita. Welcome.
Hi,
Hey,
Ms. Welcome.
sweetheart, how you doing?
I'm marvelous. How about you?
I'm doing good, doing good. I had a statement to make concerning the lady that called before concerning the young man that was killed.
Okay.
And I just want to, and plus related to what Jonathan is saying also.
Go right ahead.
So,
you got the stage, girl.
Okay. What I wanted to say was the young fella that was killed in Fort Walton Beach, Herberfield personnel. With military, you're trained to never be at ease. You always check your surroundings and protect yourself.
Exactly.
Now, it's totally two different scenarios with what she was saying. And she's saying that with her son, she taught him to do as you're told to do when a police stop you. But this little fellow was in his own home, minding his own business.
Exactly.
And when you consider the surrounding, there's certain areas in Fort Walton that you have to stand guard, keep your eyes open at all time because of the drugs. And that's what he was doing.
Exactly.
He was protecting himself. And he had his gun, but the gun was down. It was not aimed at that cop.
No, it
so
wasn't.
he reacted too quickly. So I'm saying, yes, we do have rights. And when you consider the source, this guy was a military individual. He should be alive today because of the fact that he was doing what he was trained to do, protect yourself.
Right.
So I just wanted to share that with you. So there's two different scenarios. He wasn't wrong. He was not wrong. He was protecting himself. And the cop just reacted.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to share that.
Oh, thank you, Anita.
Okay,
Thank you, Miss
Thank you, sweetheart, and you have a good day.
You too, love.
Thank you for your service as well.
All righty.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Tell Jonathan I said hello. I went to school with his mom down at St. Joseph and Catholic High.
Well, he's listening at you right now, Anita.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay,
and thank you for your service.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hi,
this guy is so intelligent. He's a brilliant individual.
I know.
We need him here in Pensacola.
Yes, we do.
We need him.
Yes, we do.
And I am, yes, we do. And I am in his corner anytime he needs me. I got his number. Just let me know.
Oh, thank you, Nita. Thank you.
All right, sweetheart. You take care now.
All right.
Good show. Very good show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good show yesterday, too. All right, baby. Okay. All right. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
You see, Jonathan, I'm telling you, because you see, you got a track record. Okay, and that track record is your knowledge. Knowledge is power. With the knowledge that you have, you see, you're educating as we speak today. And every time I see you and I follow you, are telling something that is truth. And we're giving dates and numbers of what really happened. You're going back through the things that I think we as a community need to know. We need to empower ourselves with knowledge so that we won't have that lack of when we think that I should just zip it.
Right on.
No. Because I think if we know what we are, the value, you know your worth, you're not going to just let anybody tell you something and I swallow that and I'm okay with it, as I see. And I'm not saying anything about the gentleman. I mean, sure, I applaud that he's 87, and I applaud never been arrested. I applaud you, but we're talking about the rights that we have, so that others won't have to be arrested either, just because I know my rights.
Right. And so one of the first things I learned in law school, my legal writing professor, and she's awesome, I saw her at the national pre-law conference I spoke at in Atlanta in September. I spoke Friday. She was coming to speak Saturday, and we just saw in passing. But she said, one of the first classes, she said, the reason the Civil Rights Act, they went after voting was because they knew they would be arrested and they had to go before a judge. So if the state judge ruled that they had their 15th Amendment right to vote, all is well, but they didn't. So when they ruled and individuals went to jail, the goal was to go to the federal court to get them to enact federal law. So it was an entire mechanism to do that. Even desegregation of schools and getting the HBCU system. Charles Hamilton Houston used Thurgood Marshall to go to fight those cases to get the schools
Right.
open.
I'm going to ask you this. Now, when you mention the HBCUs, when you talk about civil rights, when you talk about Black history, when you talk about your rights, and now in today in or so close to 2026, that all of this now is being targeted. All of this is being targeted. What do you think, and why? Is it the fact that the power that lies within? Or is it something that's on the inside that causes you to focus on the people of color? What do you think it is? Because what I'm saying right now, when you brought up even with the HBCUs, all of the funding that was going to HBCUs, we know who's the most educated there is. We know who that is. But why? Even with an email that I received a couple of days ago, I mentioned this, that I got an email that even now with Juneteenth and Dr. King's birthday, if you are a person that works with the federal, you don't get paid for that anymore. Why is it being targeted to try to take away everything that's pointed to our community?
So the simplest answer I would say is fear. To elaborate, so I'm also certified by the U.S. Department of Justice as a Dialogues on Race facilitator. I can facilitate the training for people to be trained in. In understanding that and understanding the history of our country, we've never had a racial reconciliation.
Never.
And what that looks like is, I think, and people are often afraid to say what it is. I think white people and black people are afraid to say white and black.
I'm not.
But
I understand what you're saying.
In spaces of utmost import, being able to say how racism has affected a space, and this goes into the things that I was speaking on the mental health just personally earlier. Being able to receive new information and sit with it to then process your own opinion. If every point in history black folks have said this is an injustice we're facing through how our laws are faced, and then it takes decades for recognition that okay, you were correct. Why can't we be given the benefit of the doubt that if I feel a knife in my gut and I see a knife in my gut and you're holding the other handle and I'm saying there's a knife in my gut, why are you saying no, there's not? Can you give me the benefit of the doubt even if you don't think there's a knife in your hand?
I hear you.
Can you just back up?
I hear you.
We've never had a space since Reconstruction, since emancipation, to heal from our psychological traumas that studies, scientific studies show are embedded in DNA. Why our community still utilizes aspects of corporal punishment. Why fraternities still use pledging and hazing mechanisms. We need to heal ourselves before we implore those mechanisms on our community so we can have a restraint on them. But how do we heal when a society just said, y'all can come to our facilities, we never want you to be a part of, and we will never come to yours except when we want culture, dance, food, or,
Thank you.
you know. just the things that we enjoy about you.
Exactly.
Or the things we want to consume. Or the things we want to appreciate about the physicalities of your body. You know, things beyond what you see.
Exactly.
They don't care to know the intellect of the mind and where we can expound and grow to as a collective. We're supposed to be a melting pot, but we've never been more divided in a space where we have so much knowledge that people are oppressed from not caring to know.
Exactly. Hold that right there. We got to take a break because I agree with you 100%. I do believe it's fear, and that to come back to answer that, but you went through it to show with the breakdown why the fear is there. We're going to talk more about that. I tell you, I wish this show was 2 hours, 3 hours when I had you on, because there's so much that we can talk about that we can just open up. And I think the one thing that you said that I really agree with totally, we have got to be able to say black or white, to really bring it to the top and not ease our way around it. We're going to talk more about that when we return right here on Sunshine's Corner.
My name's Kelly McLeod. I'm the owner of Bella Magazine. Bella is a source of uplifting and inspiring content for the women of Pensacola.
I think the magazine is just so thoughtfully done. There's a lot of attention to detail. The stories are really good.
You've got seriousness, you've got fun, education, fashion. It just encompasses everything.
Women are multidimensional, and so is Bella.
From the efficiency of American natural gas and the dependability of nuclear power, to the strength of Florida's sunshine and the flexibility of advanced battery storage systems, we leverage a diverse mix of energy sources to power our growing state, ensuring reliable, low-cost power for your home or business whenever you need it. FPL, working for you every single day.
Adventure, fun, and connections is all right here in your backyard with Pensacola Parks and Recreation. Bike the trails and feel the rush. Come to our senior program for ages 50 and older. Learn new skills and make new friends. Tee up at Osceola Golf Course and paddle into nature with Bayview Outdoor Pursuits. Pensacola Parks and Recreation. Discover more, play more, live more.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quint Studer, and I am Blab TV.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. I forgot almost the name of my show. I had to go, Thinking about things that happen to us daily, the things that we deal with on a daily basis. It's just truth. I have this thing, and I got to stop watching this, Jonathan, because it with me. Do you ever watch these TikToks when they with the Karens? No, but you dealing with some things in real life.
I was just. My wife and I have this thing, and we call it our daily racism of the day. And you know, black folks, our pain is laughter. But for instance, just one occurrence, throwing something away at the beach, the lid, when I close it, it closes kind of loudly, but you know, it's dusk, we're about to leave. Lady rolls her window down. Did you just throw something at my car and hit it? Huh? Did you just hit my car?
Really?
What? Is the person at lids with my wife. She's a U.S. service connected disabled veteran, permanent and total. She said throw that in, but no. In all seriousness, she served our country. She served in the Middle East, and her service caused her full disability. But just trying to buy a hat. Do you have military discount? She says right as we're checking out, and he's like, we do, but we don't, but we do, but let me explain why we don't, because you have to sign up for this program that's normally $10, but the $10 is way for veterans. was all of that necessary? And then, so I pull it out and show it to him without him asking. He said, oh, okay, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. So I put it in his, and then we're checking out. He's like, you know, you never showed me the military. That wasn't a military ID. You showed me a driver's license. It's stamped a veteran. It's a state-issued ID that recognizes her service in the U.S. military. But from Mercedes not wanting to give me a report of the maintenance things that need to be done and telling me, oh, we don't have the pass. And it's like, my grandfather was the first certified mechanic in Pensacola, because before certifications were required, he was the only one that passed at Montgomery Ward, and they wouldn't pay him supervisor pay over the white folks.
Exactly.
They just wanted them to train them.
I mean, it's behooving, but we're dealing with these things today, and I can't believe we're down to 2 minutes. I can't believe it's gone already.
That was quick.
I mean, it is always, but we got to have you back, because I mean, I love the fact, and Anita said one thing that is so true. I agree. You're brilliant, and I mean, the knowledge that you have and that you share so openly, and that's only to better our community. And I believe that if we would all just educate ourselves in the way that he's educated on things that are so prevalent to us, I think that would be better, because with things how they are, you gotta know something. You gotta know how to protect you. You gotta know, because it's being done so openly now. I mean, just like you said, you can walk across the street. Somebody don't want to walk across the street because you're there. You know what I'm saying? But I say to you, I am so pleased that you are so willing to come on with me to talk, to share, because I'm not done with you yet. Even though this hour is up, we'll be back with more.
I appreciate you having me.
I mean, I thank you, and I tell you, I love the both of you so much. I feel like your family, and I love the knowledge and the brilliance that you have for making a difference in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get out of here. I can't believe it went by so fast, because when you're being, you know me, I like to talk, and when Jonathan here, I just sit there, But it's a great day. Now, this show will be on again this afternoon at 6 o'clock. You can come back and watch it again. But I want to leave you, my dear friends, as I do every single day, because I mean this from my heart. Never, ever, ever, ever lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first, I guarantee you'll be a total success. So until tomorrow, for another day of sunshine, go out and do something positive today. Tell somebody that you love them and mean it. Know that I do love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Have a great day and be safe during this holiday season.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.